Welcome to Chik, the podcast where the girl with many titles talks about life, the good and the bad, and everything around it. We're going to sit, chat, share life stories and experiences, from business to relationship. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Chik podcast. I am so excited. This week we have Garrett who is joining us. Well, actually, you're in London now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm over in London. I have a flat over here just off the King's Road.
Perfect. And you are based in Dublin?
Between Dublin and London. Spend a lot more time in London now at the present moment, looking at different projects and stuff like that.
Which we will get into. But yeah, do you know what? I'm really excited to have you on because me and Garrett met through Oversubscribed. He's an Oversubscribed client and I manage his content. So if you look on my social media channels, you'll see Garrett everywhere. Well, if we look at yours, well, I'm on there as well. So yeah, it's very clear that. Do you know what? It's actually really funny though because we have worked together for just over 2 years, but then we've only met properly once.
Yeah, that's right. That was a couple of months ago when I done a travel up. But I'm the same person, am I? As Zoom, across Zoom as I am.
Yeah, but that's
no different. I didn't shock funny. You in any way.
No,
I'm probably better. I'm probably better looking in person, am I?
Well, I'd say you're exactly the same in person and on Zoom, so you do really well. But actually, because I'm assuming, I'm talking as if people already know what you do. So I'll let you do a quick introduction of kind of who you are, what you do, and what you specialise in, and then we'll get going.
I've been in property now 25 years, and I specialise probably in refurbishments, small developments, both commercial and residential in inner city locations. We've done over 500 projects through my 25 years in business. So I've seen all different types of done all property strategies and stuff like that. That's what I do, and I work with various people, JV partnerships and high net worth individuals in building portfolios. And I have an agency that manages the portfolio, and then we have other operating businesses that feed into the property business also.
Perfect. And all these businesses based in Dublin?
No, both Dublin and London.
And London, perfect. Fabulous. Okay, so we will get going. And the first part of the podcast is your challenge of the week. So we'll both do that. I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I think I wrote some notes down. I suppose it's just a generic one, probably life and business. You have daily challenges, weekly challenges, higher macro challenges. And on a personal level, it's probably my direction of where I want to go to. And so that's an ongoing challenge actually. And that's something that I would probably journal about, on a weekly, daily basis. So yeah, because I'm high growth person.
Yeah.
And keeping that under control, I suppose, is one thing. So I'm always setting myself targets and challenges and stuff like that, which I enjoy. People say to me, why do you do what you do? But when I wake up in the morning, I love what I do.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it more and more as you go. And one of the things I suppose I won't lead on. You'll have questions, but yeah, I just so love what I do in the morning. I so love bringing buildings back to life, looking at derelict buildings and just, but it has to make financials. And I love the deal, and I love the angle of the deal, and I love the financials of the deal and stuff like that. And I just love putting everything together. And I discovered that I enjoy partnerships with the right people. So that's what I do.
Perfect.
So that's my challenge of the week. It's an ongoing. It's just an ongoing thing.
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. I'll come back to that in a second when you talk about kind of your partnerships because I find that fascinating. So I think my challenge of the week. I think for me this week it's being completely honest with myself about where I want the business and things to go. Because I think, especially, I know that you listened to the last podcast, but we also had a conversation last week. I think I have a lot of limiting beliefs that I don't always realise are still limiting. And when I look at that and I think I'm kind of shooting for the moon and aiming for the stars kind of thing, I then realised that actually I could be shooting a lot further because like I looked at, I know that you guys do with the year of with Property Entrepreneur, and obviously
Yeah.
being working with oversubscribed, that's something that I've ended up doing myself just because I find it a lot easier to look at like what my goal is for the year and how that's going to be broken down. But my year of was to be known as like the content queens and that within my business and within what we do. But when I've drilled down into what the smaller goals were, we smashed most of our goals, or we did smash them by kind of June. And at the beginning of the year, they seemed really big, but now I'm looking at them, I'm like, actually, I need to be honest about what I actually want, even if it sounds scary, because then at least I can start then working back towards what that's going to look like financially, what the team's going to look like. And even like this last week being a bit ill, I'd taken a week off before, which was the first week I actually took off, and the team were amazing. And they did, even last week, they managed everything great. But I found that actually, if I was to take an extended period of time off, it'd be very easy for things to kind of fall off track because I'm still quite involved in some of the bits day to day that maybe I should have built systems for already. So yeah, again, part of that is I have to be honest with what I'm enjoying doing.
Yeah. So I suppose one of the things we do as probably entrepreneurs or business builders is we underestimate ourselves.
Yeah,
I equally think that you underestimate yourself, and sometimes in your ability,
yeah,
because I know your ability from talking with you and dealing with you the last while. I mean, I reach out to you. I think you've got a gift in certain things, definitely in content and definitely of putting structure together. And your business knowledge is, and I'm not just saying that's your thing because I've reached out to you for assistance and stuff like that
yeah,
in putting together stuff for me. So that's an accolade in itself. One of the things a friend of mine said the other day, was a friend of mine, Ian Barr, he said to me, he said, we build our lives to be comfortable,
yeah.
you know, nice homes, nice things. But he said growth only happens when we have challenges.
That's
I,
true.
I actually thought about that over the weekend. I said one thing I'm trying to do is I'm always trying to make everything comfortable and okay, but actually and I love growth.
Yeah.
So growth only happens when we have challenges. So I was actually thinking about that the whole weekend.
Yeah,
Believe it or
that's
not.
a really good one because actually, so this
Yeah,
goes into so what for me, one of the things that I really admire about you is your 25 years of experience in business isn't just you as a business person. So when we look at your content, like it's clear that you're a mentor in property. Like you've given me so much advice in terms of how I want to get into property anyway. That like I'll drive around. We were driving down near Jeans the other day, and there's a building that's kind of derelict. And I was like, oh, that must have been there for quite a while. I wonder how long it's been there for, how much it'd go for, what the going rate is in the area. All these things that when I was younger, and I think I'd explained to you before, when I was younger, I used to drive around different areas with my auntie and we just watch houses because we loved
yeah.
how beautiful houses could be built and the landscaping and all of that side of it. And I feel like it's gone now the extra way where I've gone from just looking at them because they're pretty to what could this look like as a financial investment. But not only,
Well, I suppose that's what I put it. I suppose I put that idea into your head
yeah,
when we discussed. You had the idea yourself about getting into property investment, but the fact that I've told you, so you've become aware now, and your conscious mind has just become aware of this. Like when somebody says you're buying this type of car, all of a sudden you see 10 of the same types of cars. Nothing different. I've just put an awareness in your head of deals to look for. Like I still walk around. I took a look. I've got 10 photographs of properties around. Chelsea around here
yeah,
that are slightly derelict. And I said, wow. I said, and I'd be looking in the window. People obviously probably thought I was stalkers, but I just love it doing that. So yeah,
So obviously we've got the property side of everything, that 25 years of experience, but you've also just noted that like the one of your quotes, and you've got so many amazing quotes that you pick up that I think are amazing. I think my question
yeah,
to you would be how how do you manage being you day to day and being a nice person that gives back as well? Because to get to 25 years of experience in terms of business obviously is huge. There's such a wealth of knowledge, and there's no reason why, like for someone that me would come to you, you couldn't turn around and say, I'm sorry, I can only talk to you if I charge you your time. But a lot of the conversations we've had, and like I'm saying, like the things that I think about and the things that you've put in my mind, whether it's quotes about how to live your life, how to get into different types of business, whether it's property or anything else, how have you managed to keep such a level head, and like am I asking this in the right way? Not that. I think my question is, how do you know how much to give back and how to do it, and where to kind of draw the line between business and being a nice person?
Okay, well, I suppose yeah, through my experience, I suppose from dealing with people over the years, I would say, when there's a genuine person who's looking for help.
Yeah,
So I would definitely get an awareness, and it's being self-aware, I
yeah,
suppose, is and having a self-awareness around that. And when people are ready, and I know this is a cliche, the teacher will appear. And I'm no teacher, by the way, but whatever I have, I'll share.
yeah,
And 25 years experience, and I just know, and even I know you're interested in it, I know other people's interest in it, and then people have come to me in JV partners, and some JV partners just I knew wouldn't work,
yeah,
and I just decided it's not for me. Some people would jump on that, and it wouldn't matter who they get a thing. I'm not like that. I have to not to become a friend, but I definitely have to work with them. I
yeah,
definitely have to be able to work with them, and there has to be an energy between us, to be honest. If I don't get that, and I can kind of pick that up in a couple of minutes, to be honest, whether it's for me or it's not for me. Um, so I've learned that, and I suppose the couple of mentorships I have, I just knew it was right. I knew they were seeking, and if I always think back how much service and I know people say the more service you give, the more you get rewarded. I don't actually do it for that. I just genuinely just like helping people. I like sharing. Actually, I like sharing my knowledge, what I have, but I also like getting knowledge from other people as well. So I'm always seeking that out as well. And how I kind of how I came. I'm not always calm. I'm not. My wife will tell you that. But I have a daily ritual, to be honest. That and you're aware of it. That I just do things every day. Do I fall off the wagon on that daily ritual? The answer is yes. But I just have a simple morning ritual that I do every morning, and that's writing down what I want to win of the day and what I'm grateful for.
yeah,
Just I know everybody's kind of going on that, but it works, and
yeah,
it genuinely works. Exercising, reading, and getting that all done before 8 o'clock in the morning is just sets me up so much for the day. And the more I do it, the more I explore that, the more calm I become.
yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. And actually, funnily enough, that also leads into we talked a little bit about quotes. So, what is one quote you would live by? Now we've both got quotes, and mine never
Yeah,
not changed for years. But yeah, what's one you live by and
I,
why?
I've several, right, but one of the ones that really resonate with me, especially when things are not going wrong, and I'll just read it out because it's little. I will laugh at the world, and how can I laugh when confronted with man or deed which offends me, so as to bring forth my tears or my chorus? 4 words I will train myself to say until the habit to become strong, that immediately they will appear in my mind whenever good humour threatens to depart from me. These words, passed down from the ancients, will carry through every adversity and maintain my life in balance. The 4 words are, uh, this too shall pass.
Ah,
So that is one of the quotes whenever I'm having difficulty, I'm having challenges. I recently had a sibling pass away.
yeah,
And I know that's not a thing, but it was one of our first siblings in our family. So that was quite a challenging period in my life. So when I sit down, I suppose I just know that tomorrow will be better.
yeah,
I know in a week's time will just heal whatever that is, whatever challenge you're having in business and life and stuff like that. And if I look back at the biggest challenges I had in my life, and I've had some really, well, at the time they were big for me, and it's past now. And then I look back and I say to myself, right, what have I learned from that? What
yeah,
experiences have I come from that? How can I take those experiences and things? And I'm so grateful, by the way, for everything that's happened in my life.
yeah,
And the people will say, well, that's what I said, no, because it's taught me different things. It's taught me different strengths, different character buildings. And so when I had a friend, I was with a friend yesterday, and he's gone through a bit of a bad time at the moment. And I shared that quote with him.
Yeah.
And I said, and my exact words, I just said, look, this will pass too, pal. I said, I know that right at this moment that you're feeling the way you're feeling, but I said, it passes. I said, and time just gives a thing. So I really live by that kind of quote. I always have it. And I always have it with me, but I've numerous different quotes as well.
I love that one. And actually mine's a little bit similar to yours. So mine is choice, not chance, determines your destiny. And it is, again, it'd be one, like you said, that whenever things are a little bit difficult or I'm trying to find the next way to move forward, like I'm a spiritual person as well anyway. But I think even how I look at religion, how I look at life, growing up in like different cultures, I think we've talked about it separately, but growing up in like two cultures, growing up in like the household that I have where it's not that the men do what men should do and women that do what women should do. I think there's so much power in our choices. There's so much power in how we think about things that whenever I start to kind of slip off, I literally say to myself, I have a choice of whether I accept things for the way that they are or I can live an authentic life. And genuinely, I think even in the work that I do as being like a content creator and how I make money, it is by going out online to show who I am authentically. And the reason I make money is because people then subscribe to how I put myself out there and how honest people think that I am. And if it wasn't for me to say, because a lot of people would be scared, and I think even when we work with content and when we've worked with like your content, it's scary to put yourself out there because people do judge, people are a particular way. Then you start to find that the more that you're comfortable in your choices and who you are as a person, you then attract the right people. And I'm a firm believer that.
And also the amount of service that you give as well, because I can tell you, because I've reached out to you for my daughter when she was doing thing, and you happily took a phone call from her at any stage, and so it is about how much service you can give, and sometimes it's not always about monetary service, and because things do come back to you, and without going, what I say to you is without going out to the world, but just wanting to get rewards from stuff, just doing simple, I know it's just simple little acts of service to people, and that might be the smallest thing, by the way. But I do believe the more you get that, the more you get out of it. And there, I suppose I'm on the board of property entrepreneur board, but one of the things Dan Hill is talking about a section is karma credits. It's actually building those karma credits, and also not leaving any crumbs. He talks about as well, which is
that's true. I actually read somewhere as well that when you do things selflessly, it's actually good for your mental health. It gives you like a serotonin boost that's supposed to be
that's right.
Yeah, so there are clearly links all the way around. I love that. Okay, so we are just over halfway through. The next question is, how are you really doing?
Okay, so how am I really doing? I thought about this, and I speak to a life coach once a month, and one of the things that I always do is seek feedback from my peers and people I respect. By the way, I don't put it up. It's only people that I respect, and I would seek constant feedback in the way I suppose live my life, in my business and my stuff like that, and the type of person that I am. I had a session with my life coach there last week, and she asked me the same question, and she asks it to me every month. How are you really doing? And I paused and I said, because we always seem to not that we want stuff to be wrong. I said, I'm actually probably this month I'm in the best place I've ever been in a long time. And so how am I really doing? Is I'm really good. I'm finding that I'm dealing with just different challenges appearing, but I'm finding the way I deal with those challenges really effective for my own mind. I know you say your mental health and stuff like that, but I would constantly feed my mind with good things. So I'm in a really good place in my life. I've got two amazing daughters, an amazing wife, and an amazing family and friends. and I choose my friends wisely,
Yeah.
and I don't. Anybody that I find toxic, I'll try and reach out to them if they want help, but I won't force it upon them.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I will do. And then if I don't get a thing, I will just, I need to step away from people that I feel that are intoxicating my life. So I keep my circle close, and I protect my mind, and I protect any people that are negative around me. So I'm very good at that, and I would say that I have a high level of self awareness around that as well. Of when I'm getting dragged down,
Yeah.
do I have days that are? Um, Somebody said, "Do you ever have down days?" Of course,
Yeah.
I have down days, but I'm aware of them,
Yeah.
and I have a process of dealing with with those days, and I go through a simple process which I know what it is, and I just call it a dip. And when I'm in a dip, I'm in a dip. People try to fight it, I don't. I just say, right, I'm having one of those days, and that's it. And I just embrace it,
Yeah.
and I just know the process of going through that day, and that's what I do. But right at this moment, I'm in a really good place.
Oh, I love that. Even just kind of your breakdowns. So I think my side of that, again, I'd mirror you quite a lot. Like I'm not in therapy at the moment, but after spending like a good couple of years in therapy, I realised that actually I'm dealing with a lot of challenges just in a way where I look at them very methodically. And I think I got to a point where I
Yeah,
just thought, I'm just too nice and people take advantage. And recently I just went through something where again I felt like someone in my life had taken a bit of an advantage. But then I realised actually again that's still my choice to make. I'm becoming better at setting boundaries. But I
yeah,
remember saying to someone that when you set boundaries, you're actually setting them for yourself. It's not for other people. So on my end, I looked at it and thought, okay, this person's done something that hurts me. I know that they're aware of what they've done, and if I bring this up, is it actually going to bring me anything, or do I just need to slowly start to remove myself from the situation? I'd happily have the conversation with them, but it's probably going to drain more energy to try and explain myself than if I actually just say, do you know what? We've now just changed a different phase of where our lives are. That's where I am, and I
yeah,
think that's where I'd say I'm really happy with where I am. I'm doing really well because yeah, even being ill last week, like I got work done. My team managed loads of things that were amazing. The people I spoke to last week, one of them being you, just
yeah,
had the right conversations at the right time where what would have got me into a dip and I'd have been panicking that, because obviously, especially when you work for yourself, time is money. And
yeah,
I'm not in a position where my team is big enough for me to be able to say that I don't need to be there for a month and everything's going to be fine. But I'm moving forward in a way where I can see that I'm getting better at standing up for who I want to be and being my authentic self. I'm having more people in my life that suit the person I am and who I want to be, and they push me forward. And even when I talked in the last podcast about like the 5 people that you surround yourself with, I'm lucky enough that I've got a small circle. But it's not even just in those 5, even in like the clients that I work with, the people that I work with, the people I've got around me day to day, they're all amazing people that add so much to my life that I'm now going, oh, this is great. Like even when like you
yeah,
say, when you are having those dips, it's not about trying to get yourself out of those dips. I need to now learn, just take it as it is. Have a day where you
yeah,
take it
yeah,
out and don't feel guilty because tomorrow's always going to be there. Like
yeah,
I got on Thursday, like I couldn't get out of bed and I was like, it got to like the evening, I just felt really bad. And I thought, if I tell myself I can do 1 hour's worth of work, I'll do 1 hour and then by the weekend I'll have done everything. I looked yesterday, I've done, like your content's done really for the month. Loads of stuff's
yeah.
done.
That's because I'm really easy.
But you've got the system where, again, and I think this then leads into kind of the next part that I wanted to talk to, with content and with how you learn and how open you are to learning, that's made my life easier as well. But I'm really enjoying that process of when we sit down and we have our calls and we go, okay, what are we working towards this month? What are the goals? What do you want to focus on? Like, not only do you ask questions that get me excited because I'm then sharing knowledge that I love. So, like last week
Yeah,
was turn on live videos or live photos. Yeah, and it's little things where again, then I look at your content and when you post things, I'm like, not only have you, like you don't just listen, you hear, and I really
yeah,
appreciate that because it shows in your content. You can see the like videos that have started to go semi-viral. You can see the consistency in posts, you can see just in the fact that it's fun as well to make, and the ideas that we swap across each other, it becomes fun. That, like you've said, you love what you do. You're one of those people that makes me love what I do even more, and it becomes easier to kind of clarify what I want to do more of, because when you find a partner that works with you and in a way where you bounce off each other, why would you not like what you do?
Yeah.
So I suppose my next question with that is, obviously with content, we work together, we're oversubscribed. You've got me, you've got Chris. But with your kind of GV partnerships, are there any specific qualities you look for in partners that you think kind of add to that success?
I suppose what you attract is the people like yourself, really. Well, that's what I've found that I've attracted. Haven't always got it right. And some partnerships have ended, but I've never ended bad.
Yeah.
Any partnerships, because we finish on a thing, because sometimes partnerships are only for a period of time in your life. So you have that period of time and you move on. And that's it. Like this, I've had several that I'm still good friends with, several partners that we've had business together, we've had properties together, we've done projects, but then it was time out, and then you move on. And I suppose I'm always, well, I do attract more people like myself, I suppose, that would be life people, I would call them, that, how would I describe it, would be into more, I don't want to say spirituality or that kind of thing, but that's the type of people that I would probably have the most connection with. That's what I do myself. Everything I do myself, I tend to, the partnerships have come together because of my, I suppose, the way I live my life in a spiritual way, the books I read, the podcasts I listen to, the people I go see. And that's where I've actually, most of my partnerships have come from, most of my investors have come from that pod. So I don't go there to seek them out. It just happens. And as I said to you, I won't work with everybody. Because it wouldn't be fair to them, and it just wouldn't be fair to me, because I just don't want any. I want to continue enjoy what I do, and I see some partnerships and I see some investors blowing up, and it just would not be for me. I am slow and steady. I've had some challenges in my business in the early years that I've took lessons from that won't carry on into my business going forward. I would tend to be. I just do things a lot slower now and take my time. Because slow and steady wins the race, and being consistent in your daily actions and your daily thing, I believe is much better. I teach my daughters that as well, and saving. I'm fanatical going around the house, picking up 10 cents, pound coins, and putting them in a jar, and then when the jar is full, bringing them down to change them, and then maybe getting some stock. I've got them into stocks and stuff like that. So, and just in partnerships, I would have to connect with them at a deeper level than I wouldn't just take on anybody into a partnership, or especially a JV. If somebody wants to invest in me, that's different, because there's a mechanism of doing that. If somebody wants to lend them money and I give them a fixed return and stuff like that, that's different. JV partnerships are, I mean, you're practically married to a person for a period of time. So it's got to work. Or else you're going to be into a nasty divorce. So what's the point in bringing that upon yourself, to be honest? So most of my JV partners, as I say, have come through the teachings that I embrace and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I love that. And so what I'm getting now is you trust your gut a lot more now. Would you have said that in the past, when you didn't kind of have all this experience, you'd have been a risk taker, or did you have kind of a... Okay.
I would previously, you're young. You go through different stages of your life. You're in your 20s, your 30s. You're in your 30s, your 40s. You're in your 40s, your 50s. I'm my next birthday, I'm 51. So there's different stages in my life. I was much ballsier when I was younger. in
Yeah.
taking risk. I didn't think that anything could happen. I was naive,
Yeah.
very naive. At the time, I didn't think so, but probably egotistical. Um, and you just learn that through when life slaps you
Yeah.
and takes you down a peg. You can go two roads in that. You can take it. I didn't. I said, when I look back now, I needed that
Yeah.
in my life because I would have been probably a dick
Yeah.
if I hadn't had that kind of setback in my business life, which in reflection would have gone into my personal life as well. So I've made massive changes in my life over the last 20 years. And the people I surround myself with wouldn't be the people I grew up with. I've a handful of friends that I grew up with,
Yeah.
and that's still good friends. But the people now I surround myself with wouldn't be who I grew up with.
Yeah.
So I've made massive changes in my life over the last 20 years, and yeah, and that's just by choice.
And it goes to show, because then look how well you're doing with the business. And I suppose you and
Yeah,
well, we'll cover this in you win of the week because there's a little bit of like an extra that I know that other people wouldn't know. So we'll start to wrap it up, and yeah, let me know what your win of the week
yeah.
is.
Let me know which.
Oh, what your win of the week is.
Breaking up. Sorry.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you?
Doing so well. I was saying, if you let me know what your win of the week is, I'll then lead into the last little bit that I've got for you.
Yeah. So the win of my week is I'm not one for accolades or awards or putting myself forward. I got my assistance from you on this one actually. But you put my year of presentation for the last number of
Yeah.
years, and because you and I left it to the last minute, or you said I didn't. But you just got a gift of just tying everything together.
Just
So
never know your
so
life
this,
much.
yeah. So this year I and because I come from a place where I don't like public speaking. Even me doing this podcast with you is like not difficult anymore because I know you so well. But
Yeah.
I'm just not one for public speaking. I'm not one. But that's one of my things next year is actually taking on a public speaking course.
Oh, I love it.
But this year the presentation I got second place on the presentation. Shiv Harry had won the first place and well deserved. For that was for the board year of presentation, and I done a JV partnership with Susie Carter, and it was really Susie's Carter deal, and she reached out to myself and Ian, and we became JV partners on a biomass deal, which is a boiler for energy. It's one of the energy efficient boilers that we went in a partnership, and that one deal of the year on the board.
Congrats.
So my two wins were I came second place on my presentation, which was an amazing thing for me. I was really I went well from a place where I came because I'm nervous of public speaking. I'm nervous of standing up and the thing. And the second was then we got deal of the year. So two amazing wins this week for me.
But yeah, they're amazing wins. Yeah, absolutely love that. And well, I'd say right before I go into my win of the week, because then we'll finish off that way. For me, it's knowing that you are about to get to the point where you can retire if you choose to do at such a young age as
Yeah.
well. And I think that is absolutely amazing. It just goes to show that obviously for people that don't know you personally, for anyone that does know you personally, it's going to make sense. But for the people that do listen to this and don't know you personally and want to like stalk your social media and so on, which I definitely do.
Yeah.
I definitely say it's such an achievement, but it just goes to show as well from what I've been trying to say that in your 25 years of experience, not only have you learned so much that you've been able to put together and put your goals and achieve your goals, but in that time, you have worked with new and different people. You've given a little bit more. You've done so much that it doesn't just make sense, but it makes sense in the sense that you are a hard worker, and of course, it's so well deserved. But yeah, I think for me, it's just to say a massive congratulations for where you are.
One of the things I will say to you is on the retirement is because I keep my overheads low.
Yeah.
I would, I'd be frugal in what I do, and my overheads are really low. I don't have an extravagant lifestyle, and that's by choice, by the way. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it of having whatever you want to have. I just choose not to.
Yeah.
because it's just so I keep my overheads and I track them on a monthly basis, and I get a report on my expenses every month. So to be honest, people say if you're retired, you just look over at your overheads, and you might be surprised. And I've discussed this with you as well, of what your overheads are
Yeah.
and how quickly that you can achieve that through the proper investments. So
Yeah.
it's not a case of me retiring because I have, it's because I keep my overheads low as well, and my investments that I've made have now outpassed, my monthly expenses.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Massive congrats.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
my win of the week, do you know what I'd say? My win of the week was not stressing myself out too much about not working. Like the day that I end up having to be in bed, I think the fact that I could just get to the point to say, do you know what, do 1 hour, and then after that you can figure out the weekend, and trusting that I always get what I need to get done. So I think I'm really hard on myself, and I always think that everything has to be perfect, everything has to be done a particular way. But I always forget that I still do it, and it's
Yeah,
just understanding that, like, I'm not a morning person whatsoever. I think it's even just learning and understanding that if I'm not a morning person, these are the times that I work best. If I'm
yeah,
struggling, whether that's mental health wise, whether it's just being ill, that there are other ways to kind of refigure your day and your thought process to knowing that there are ways to figure it out. So yeah, I think my win of the week's just not getting myself bogged down into how things weren't going to get done, because they are.
brilliant. Well, that's it. Well, one of the books I read on a daily basis is that Change Your Thoughts, Change Your
Oh,
Mind. Is about
amazing.
Taoism, and one of the verses this morning was about that, and I read it out. It was about being calm,
Yeah,
um, and achieving that. I think I discussed it with you before, but
yeah.
yeah, and well done for that, and well done for being self-aware on that.
Thanks. Yeah, it takes a lot of practice. Right, this is about to end, so I will wrap it up here and
Okay,
say thank you so much for being on.
it's a
Definitely,
pleasure.
definitely be another one where you will be on, because I've got a list of questions that I think could be just so valuable for people to hear.
Yeah,
And
looking
obviously,
forward to it.
like, yeah, divulging a bit more into property for people that are interested in property, or if people do have
Yeah,
questions, feel free to send those in and we can plan that.
absolutely, and ask them to send you the questions, and I'll gladly answer them
Yeah, that's
if I
perfect.
if I can.
Yeah, of course you can. But yeah, thank you so much for being
Have
on.
a great day, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, for anyone that is listening or watching, subscribe, follow. I'll link all of Garrett's socials underneath. And yeah, see you next week.
Okay, looking forward to it. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.